Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the RENNSPORT Community League, to episode 3 of season 2. And today we are at Daytona for a 45-minute race, as you've probably seen before if you've followed this league. But if you're new to the RENNSPORT Community League or RENNSPORT as a whole, because we launched the open beta just this week, this is a 45-minute GT3 championship consisting of 6 races. We are now in the 3rd round. And it's looking very interesting in the championship standings. But as usual, I'm not alone behind the microphone because I'm joined by Tim Ireland.
Hello, Lino.
Hello, Tim.
It's been a very busy week, as you've mentioned, with the beta launching. So, yeah, it's good to sit down and just commentate on a bit of racing.
Indeed, and I mean, what better track than Daytona for that? I mean, Daytona is made for racing, so...
Yeah, and we've got a good field today. There's obviously been a fairly decent bump in players because of the open beta launch, and the ranking systems have been kind of exploding as everyone tries to scramble for a decent rank. And we've got a lot more drivers than usual, so these should be a fairly well-matched set of drivers on track today.
I mean, we already seen Joachim Thunder in the Audi. We have Lukas Bender here today, who had a fantastic battle 2 days ago with Dominik Ladler in the opening open beta event at Monza, who is also here today. But, and in general, many new names, but also some that already established themselves. It will be very interesting, I can assure you that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good race. And as you can probably see on the stream, we've got a lot of new liveries as well.
Indeed, there's a bit of a moment between Gokpolas. Oh, collecting another BMW as well. Well,
it was luckily chaotic at turn 1 there.
Luckily, in this session, they are able to reset because it's a casual or the quite normal qualifying mode, not the rolling one that you've seen sometime before. But Lukas Bender will be the first one to set a lap time in this session. Going through the bus stop now, keeping it clean. I mean, you first need a banker lap. But what do you expect for today? Do you expect lots of strategy calls? Do you expect lots of crashes? Or what?
Honestly, I'm not really sure what to expect today because we've got a bunch of new faces. We've got some old hats at RENNSPORT. I have no idea if the new people are aware of the rules or how long the race is going to be, or if they've maybe got some interesting strategies up their sleeves. So, yeah, it'll be I'm just looking forward to some really good close wheel-to-wheel racing, to be honest.
I mean, Daytona always delivers on that front, doesn't it? I mean, you have those very long bankings, lots of slipstreaming, but not quite enough to get past. So you end up side by side into the bus stop, into turn 1.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of tight braking zones, which is always tempts you to try and maybe push for that little extra overtake that you wouldn't normally go for.
And actually, I just had a look through the split. It's completely half-half between the people we already know and people that we don't know.
Oh, excellent.
That's also very interesting. You also have a good split of cars. You have 3 AMGs, 2 BMWs, the typical lone Audi in the form of Joachim Thunder, and the rest is Porsche, but it's overall a pretty decent split of cars, I'd say. And it's also very close up front already, with Dominik Ladler and Joachim Thunder being separated by nearly 300 only.
And we had a guest appearance from the Green Hell AMG as well.
Yeah, indeed. We haven't seen that car in quite a long time, I think. I think the last time might have been Alex Emma in the first Spa night race, if I remember that correctly. Maybe. But it's a fairly rare livery, actually, because, of course, RENNSPORT was much smaller when this one dropped. It is stunning, though.
But it does look really good.
But I mean, what's also stunning definitely are the new beta liveries. I mean, at first when I heard of the concept of animated liveries and lighting and stuff, I was like, nah, might be too illusion breaking. But then I saw them and immediately fell in love with them.
They look fantastic in the dark.
Yeah, they
Because they
do
are,
look.
yeah, they do glow to a degree. They do look brilliant in the dark.
And actually, like I've seen some complaints about this is illusion breaking and stuff. But if you are driving, and I mean, you can try the open beta for free. You can just go to the Epic Game Store, download the beta, and jump in and drive.
Yeah.
And you will see that it's not distracting, but just even cooler to look at. I personally really like the diamond one that Edwin Lunar is using, but that might be because the colors are kind of close to what I use and all my stuff, so that's not too big of a surprise, I guess. But other than that,
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with it because it is a bit of something special. But yeah, it's a subtle effect. It's not overly distracting. It's not like it's colors flashing in your face as you're driving along or anything.
but while we're watching Arduino Lunar, I'm surprised that he hasn't set a lap time. He's usually somebody who's a very decent lapper as well. And he had his fair share of successes already. He hasn't set a valid lap time yet, which I'm kind of surprised by, but it's looking good in the first sector. First sector, of course, the most technical out of the three of them.
And he is car number 2, which, because the ranking system working more now in open beta, means he's got the second highest rank in the server, with Dominic Ladler being first.
Yeah, indeed. And this might actually be close to his final lap. So he has to get it cleanly through the bus stop here. Doesn't take any risks. And it should be good. He's 4 times down. That would still put him in a very good position. Probably top 4. But look how close it is up top. It's Dominic Ladler in front of Lucas Benner and Joachim Thunder, all within 300th of a second.
Do you think Lucas was in the chat with us just before the broadcast saying that he was not going to be doing well today? I think he may have been trying to throw us a curveball.
Yeah, I just wanted to say pretty much the same because he's basically like lowballing people on Facebook Marketplace, but we are the people on Facebook Marketplace. Aliza goes 6th as well. He's also somebody we already know, but currently out of the, let's say, rookies, even though it might not be completely fair to them, but Axel Boyer doing fairly well in 5th right now in the BMW, best of the 2 BMWs, but Go Polassa hasn't set a valid lap time yet. But we are close to the end of the session. There's 1 minute left to go, which means some people will be able to finish their flying laps. But this is super close. On a 1 minute 46 lap, 3 cars in this proximity to each other. That could be very interesting.
And Lucas Bender going top of the table. And then Dominic Landler instantly setting another lap.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have talked about the 3/10 difference between the two. That was commentator's curse to the fullest.
But in the good way, because they went faster.
Indeed.
Not in the usual bad way.
But that's qualifying as good as wrapped. And Dominic Ladler on pole, as we've just seen, with Lucas Bender, Joachim Thunder, and Adrian Lenore behind. And Oscar Sobel in the pretty much final few seconds of the session went 5th in front of Axel Boyer. So for him, that's a very good starting position on row 3, I'd say. So the race is fairly long. It will require 1 pit stop. How big do you think, after a couple of days of open beta, how big do you think is the advantage for the likes of Ladler, Bender, Thunder, Luno, compared to the newer people on the grid?
The newer people on the grid they seem to have fairly decent lap times so far. I imagine the not being very quick myself, I imagine that the quicker drivers will be able to adapt fairly quickly to a new sim, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. I think the hiccups for them will be things like pit stops and the rolling start procedure, maybe that they haven't done so much. But the actual driving of the car, they seem to be getting up to speed pretty good.
Indeed, but we can hear the machines roar up to life. And there we see 2 platinum beta liveries side by side.
It looks like a fix, but it is not a fix.
But we also have 2 of the liveries further in the background.
Yeah. You don't get a BHP boost.
Not yet. But yeah, we're getting closer to the starting lights.
Normally just bunch up a little bit before the start goes.
Indeed. But we got green in Daytona for episode 3, and it's a good start for Lenore behind, who's already pressuring Joachim Thunder, but it's Dominic Ladler in the lead through turn 1, Lucas Bender losing a position to Joachim Thunder.
I think Spojic went a bit wide there in turn 1, but he seems to have hooked it back in and doing well back in 4th place.
Indeed. Oh, that's Alizar going wide there. He kept it out of the grass, though. Once you hit that, it will be tricky to come back from that.
Pretty clean through the international horseshoe, though, which is always a good start to a race.
Still closely packed through the second of the horseshoes. Oh, that's Alex Boyer.
Corner should have a name. There's a lack of names on the Daytona track, and I feel like that corner needs a name.
I mean, it probably has one, but... Oh, that will be now very interesting with Soprich and Lenore behind Bender. I think I've also seen a bit of damage on Lucas Bender's car on the rear left. Of course, in the RENNSPORT Community League, we currently run with damage for the first half of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, he just seems to have taken a bit of damage. I think he's maybe had a bit of a rear-end incident. And Dominic Ladler taking a fairly commanding lead early on, maybe taking advantage of a bit of battling lower down the standings. So he's got a fair amount of clean air around him at the minute.
Very aggressive braking into turn 1. Car gets very unsettled. Very bumpy as well there. But yeah, we still have a close fight here on our hands. And Oscar Sobrich seems to be a bit faster than Lucas Bender in this stage of the race. Oh, and a long side for the bend.
Lucas definitely coming under a lot of pressure, taking the defensive line. No.
That was a very aggressive dive there by Sobrich, but it worked.
I think it was all fair in love and racing.
Oh, loses 3 and round he goes. I mean, that's always unfortunate, isn't it?
Some would say it might be karma for that hard move that he just made, but who are we to judge?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a fair move. He didn't
seem like a fair move to
push Lucas off the track, but of course, if you overdrive the tires, especially in such an early stage of the race where the tires are cold, you create an imbalance in the car and just rotates you around. As Laszlo Toth is in the wall a bit and got Polassa with a huge drift through the bus stop. But in all of that, Axel Boyer got past Lucas Bender, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he's charging pretty hard at the minute. He's got 2 purple sectors at the beginning of this lap. Joachim Thunder is slowly catching up with Dominic Ladler.
Oh, Ali's
Well, yeah.
around.
But I think Axel Boyer is gunning to make this a race. He doesn't want to get left behind. He seems to be gapping Lucas Bender now and pushing forward.
I mean, you can really see how he's really pushing that BMW as hard as he can.
But being one of the new guys, he might live to regret it as far as the tyres are concerned towards the end of the race. We'll see.
What I'm surprised by is Adrien Luneau, after starting P4, he completely fell down the order at some stage. And I didn't really notice where that happened, if I'm honest. Because there was so much other things happening, but he's down in 8th.
Yeah, it's a surprising place for him to be. He's definitely quicker than that. But I'm sure he'll start clawing his way back up through the field. He's got a fair gap to make up ahead of him though. Just ahead of him is Oscar Spojic fighting with GoPro Lassa, but he's about 3 seconds behind those right now.
It didn't look like there was really damage on Luneau's car.
No, it seems okay. It doesn't seem to have any scratches or dents or anything. So it was maybe just a bit of an overdriving situation like we saw from the other AMG.
I mean, Gok Polasta definitely has a good race so far. He started P12, if I remember that correctly, or P11. And he's up in 6th. Of course, he has now the pressure of Oscar Sobrich all over his back, but...
Still no Tim Schroeder tonight, but we've got some flashing headlights for him.
Indeed. We all hope to see him back fairly soon. Gok Polasta in the defensive line, but really compromising his exit there, and Sobrich going for the opportunity.
Kind of muscles his way through the inside there with the green hell car.
Now, what will Gok Polasta do? Will he try to get past again, or will he just hang on to Sobrich? Just try to get back on that position.
Didn't have a lot of slipstream, so he won't gain a lot of speed from that, so he might be hard pressed.
But he forces him to go through the inside in the bus stop, and that can really throw you off in the exit.
Seems to have thought better of it and pulled out there.
He's in a very good position now, though. I think that is roundabout where you really want to be when slipstreaming.
Yeah, you need the space to build up the extra speed, don't you, before you actually slingshot past. You can see he's closing up really fast now. But he's going to be on the outside into turn 1. It's a long corner. Brakes a bit later.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was just too much. Oh, and hard into the wall again. You could really see how the car was losing traction on the rear early into the turn as well, and then instead of pulling out, he just tried to keep the turning radius, but at some point the car is just gonna slip on you.
Yeah, it was definitely going to be a difficult holding onto that around the corner.
I mean, in all fairness, if he would have opened up the steering, it might have snapped to the other side if it was at the wrong time and he catched a bump in that moment.
Yeah.
That would have also not been very helpful, but it's it's so easy to say and talk about in the commentary booth if you don't need to drive yourself. I mean, for those who watched my race on Wednesday, know I'm not the best driver myself in certain situations.
Sometimes being the most entertaining driver is the most important thing, though, you know.
Well, define entertaining. I mean, what was really entertaining was Lala and Bender 2 days ago. That was... I think I was really so excited over a fight because that one was just... I think it's hard to top racing like this. Of course, in ESL1 the people are super close and stuff, but I've not really seen a fight like this, even in ESL1.
We've had some really good fights recently as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
There was some really good ones in the Runners-Up Cup recently, and that one with Lucas on the 2.4 hours of Spa.
Lucas has been in a good amount of good battles, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah. He likes to talk himself down, but he's pretty quick when he wants to be.
We're not buying that anymore, mate. But Luno now right on the back bumper of Sovrich. But I've had an eye on Axel Boyer's pace here and there, and he seems to be a bit on and off. Sometimes he's way faster than the two in front and then loses time again. So it seems like he just hasn't found the level of consistency yet that he would hope for, but he is definitely a threat if this race continues as it is, because he's slowly picking up, especially to Joachim Thunder.
Yeah, he seems to be catching up to Joachim Thunder pretty quickly. He's just set another purple middle sector. But yeah, he's maybe, it depends how he's practiced with it. If he's been doing a bit of time trial practice, he's maybe not used to starting a lap with tyres that were just as hot as they were before the start-finish line and things like that. That's maybe a bit where his consistency's lacking a little bit.
Oh no, high up nearly into the wall. Really cost him a lot of momentum as well.
So the minute we've got Dominic Ladler 3 seconds ahead of Joachim Thunder and Axel Boyer having a fight, and then 4 seconds back from that fight to Lucas Bender, who's got nearly 10 seconds on 5th place in Benjamin Jones, before we have a fairly tight pack of drivers with Jones, Sproyek, Lunar, Toff, and Zahir. Gogpo Lasser seems to be having a bit of a nightmare race today.
It seems like he was in the pits already, though. Maybe you can double check on that, but I think he would have been in the pits last lap with the position he's in. And I've just seen on your screen that indeed he was already in the pits.
Yes.
Oh, Alizar
his last lap was very long. If I can find him. He's definitely taken fuel on board, so he's maybe going for a bit of a sneaky undercut everybody strategy.
I mean, he's pretty alone on track right now, so it might actually absolutely work into his favor. He has nobody around him, he can just lap. Okay, there's the 3 fighting cars in behind him.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at this. Nearly 3 wide down the front stretch. It's Lenore with the double overtake here. Sobbich around the outside of Benjamin Jones, who has been running a very good race until this point as well.
Broik did well to not accidentally take Jones out there. He got very close together. It was some good clean racing.
I mean, if they would have gone really 3 wide, that would have taken so much bravery from all 3 of them and also so much trust. That's 3 wide into turn 1 really is a challenge. Because it's so easy to slip up as well. It's not like going 3 wide into a hard braking zone or something.
No, because it's turning all of the time.
Turning rate is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Not much runoff. I mean, there is a lot of runoff in terms of tarmac being present, but once you hit that, you're basically sent flying, and getting that out of the wall, you really need to have braked early enough already. So
yes, Yeah, once you lose traction, your brakes don't make much difference. But much with seats on an aeroplane, you definitely don't want to be the one in the middle.
We have some fan support for Dominic Ladler in the chat as well. I mean, he's doing fine. And somebody went into the pits. I think it's... I don't know, Benjamin Jones has DNF from this race. Not quite sure why. At least it seems like it.
Yeah, it seems to have... Yeah, we've got another DNF. But I didn't see why it happened, to be honest.
Just saw him drop down the timing sheets.
I don't think Gogpo Lasser's undercutting everyone is cutting off to a good start because he seems to be lapping quite a bit slower than the people around him. So he's now getting blue flagged, which is always kind of the death of any undercut strategy.
Owen Sobrich again in the same spot he's spun in before and where we've also seen Alizar go around. It's just always catching that bump when you transfer from the infield to the layer of tarmac in between the infield and the oval or the speedway. That one is really, really bumpy.
Yeah, it's always a sketchy turning zone for me because you're desperately trying to get on the throttle for the banking section, and like you say, it's very bumpy. You're still kind of turning a little bit. Axel Boyer is trying to make a move on Joachim Thunder, yeah?
But he's very patient, isn't he? I know a couple of drivers who would have tried desperately to go for a move there, but he's just waiting for his opportunity. But it works very well. He's also getting closer to Lala, and it's still half an hour to go on this race. But speaking of durations and distances, the open beta, that was so nice.
Silky.
The open beta doesn't really have a defined length. It will take as much time as it needs to have. So we can't give you any ETA or information on that because we don't have it ourselves, basically. So we try to bring you the best we can in terms of content, features, and in general game progression. And we don't try to rush everything in just to have a game at some point that's half finished. So that's it on that topic. One other thing that we could talk about is that we only have 12 drivers today. Well, not quite, right?
Yeah. You may have noticed, anybody who's been on the service recently, that we've been having a lot more than 12 drivers. Up to 24 drivers in servers, which I believe was coming next round for the RCL.
Indeed, because it's also partly due to a mistake on our end, but this is halfway of the season. We have 6 races. This race 6, and from next time on, the servers should run to the usual server config of 24 cars, which means double the cars, double the action. But I mean, today with 12 cars, we already had a lot of action, so not sure how desperately we need that. As right now, Laszlo Toth is fighting Oscar Sobrich, or the other way around, basically, for P6.
Software's position seems to be a bit like a yo-yo today. He seems to have the pace, but he's just not quite got the car control yet to maintain it.
Yeah, indeed. It's just always a good recovery. That was a tough one. And you can sign up for the next race basically on the day that it takes place. So in 2 weeks, there will be episode 4. Do you know out of your head where episode 4 starts?
I do not.
I wanted to test you because it will be Orchard Road.
All right, okay.
And basically half an hour before the server starts, so from 7:30 onwards, you can sign in through the app or through the in-game league and official contest screens. And just sign in for the race as you would usually do. I think the easiest part is through the app usually, so...
Yeah.
In general, the app, if you play the RENNSPORT beta, getting the app is making a lot of things easier. Can sign in for a race, drive that one, meanwhile sign in for the next race already if you decide you want to drive that.
Yeah, because as long as you're signed up for a race, you can join during practice, so you don't have to be there necessarily as it starts. But if you know you definitely want to do another race and you're currently in one, and you're good enough to use a steering wheel and a mobile phone at the
Don't
same
text
time.
and drive, at least in real life. In the game it's a bit different, but...
Or you've just finished and you're waiting for the rest of the field to finish because you're so much faster than everyone else. Then you can sign up for your next race and jump straight into it.
Indeed. And yeah, of course, the splits are made via ranking. So depending on your rank, you will be put in the different splits. If you want to race with Ladler, you have to be in the top split because he's currently the highest rated player out of all of them. That's why he's having the number 1 on the split. Top split will, of course, be broadcasted as well. And there are more ranks over Gold 1, which we'll leave you to discover. So let's go for the grind together. And
I don't think I'll be grinding to Gold 1. There's a certain amount of skill required that I do not have.
You can get lucky. You just have to be lucky enough times in a row. But so far, nobody's come into the pits. We expect them to come in next lap or the lap after, I think. I think we will see some differences in that as well. Oh, and Joachim Thunder is going around.
Yeah, Joachim Thunder just overcooking it a bit there on International Horseshoe. And Alex Boyer finally getting past.
It's just falling back into the hands of Lukas Bender, who's giving his best Tim Schroeder expression he can do.
Yeah, you need to flash your lights a lot to put someone off who regularly drives with Tim Schroeder, I'm afraid.
That's a fair point.
He's built up a tolerance.
I think with the chill level that Joachim Thunder has, you will not really be able to throw him off with that.
Well, maybe he'll be too busy looking his rear view at that fantastic livery.
I do think he owns this himself, doesn't he? But we also see the damage on the rear left of Lukas Bender's quarter panel. Should not impact his car's performance that much.
No, it doesn't look too bad.
If it was on the outside, maybe, but... And Axel Boyer will be first one to come in because Dominic Lala stayed out. So the first pit stop of the leading group. Joachim Thunder and Lukas Bender stayed out for another lap. What will Adrian Lenoir do?
Axel Boyer made a bit of a pig's ear of that one. British expression.
Did you drive past this pit box there?
He did drive past his pit box and he had to reverse up to it, so he's going to be kicking himself about that one.
I mean, I know a lot of stories about that from other sim racing platforms.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not just a RENNSPORT thing. Adrian Lunar is just coming out of the pits now.
That's Gok Polassa and that's Oscar Sobrich going around the outside of him, but he has to pit as well. I think Adrian Lunar also went to the grass on the pit exit there, trying to maximize it, but you can't quite go flat out at a 90 kph speed limiter.
Lucas Bender is not giving up on his flashing his lights technique. He's going to fake it till he makes it, I think.
If it works, it works. Never change a running system. But I think Dominic Ladler, Joachim Thunder and Lucas Bender will have to come in this lap, and Dominic Ladler is indeed coming in.
Joachim Thunder is very low on fuel, but I think he might have just about timed it right.
Now it's about not getting a drive through here. I think both made it.
Joachim Thunder got a lot of extra time for aligning his pit box there.
That was a nice switch between the two Porsches there in the pit lane. Dominic Ladler coming back into the fast lane as Lucas Bender is coming into his pit lane.
Lucas Bender even flashing his lights while he's in his pit box.
I think he's listening to us, if I'm honest. Lucas, if you're hearing us, send an SOS signal with your headlights. Oh, he's actually hearing us, I think. Adrian now into fourth now. Did Lucas Bender change tires by chance?
I think he might have done.
I mean, it might be the safer strategy in that regard, especially since Sobrich now also is in the pits. He will only lose the position to Lunar. And Axel Boyer also came out behind Joachim Thunder due to his blunder, I think.
Yeah, he did. He's a 4 seconds so back by now. Lucas, flash your headlights if you change tires.
We will know in a couple of seconds. Oh, but going into the grass there as well on your screen.
Oh, he repaired his damage.
Ah, that might work. So maybe there was a bit of suspension damage involved in that. But Dominic Ladler, 14 seconds ahead of Joachim Thunder. So far, definitely the dominant car on track.
Yeah, he's been absolutely schooling everyone here today, showing everybody why he's got the number 1 plate on his car.
I mean, one thing that we actually haven't talked about today so far are the championship standings.
No.
So maybe now that we have a bit of a break on our hands in terms of what is happening on track, let's take a look at the standings because they are very interesting. Those are the standings after episode 2, which was held at Road Atlanta, which was a very good race for Joachim Thunder, which is the reason he's leading this championship over Dominic Ladler.
Yeah, he's only got 2 points lead, which I think there might be a bit of a role reversal if the results stay the same as they are right now.
It will still be very close between the two of them, I think. And they will also bag a lot of points due to the huge number. We have 48 drivers here today overall, over 4 splits. So that will definitely be very interesting. Joao Loreto not here in top split. I'm not sure. Maybe he might be on a different split. And the next driver basically who is in the split, you can find in P6 and in P7. Doc Polassa and Adrian Lenore, they sure hope to bag a good amount of points. And especially Lenore is looking in a good position to do that. Yeah,
look, Adrian Lenore seems to have made a good comeback from earlier on in the race. He's only 3 seconds behind Alex Boyer right now. So he could maybe try to race for a third and get on the last podium step.
Would definitely be a very encouraging result for him, especially after the start. I mean, we still have to remember he was 8th or 9th in the earlier stages of the race. I mean, also for Lucas Bender and Ali Zaha, they can surely get some good points out of this.
Yeah.
To move up 1 or 2 positions.
And we don't know who's in split 2, but they can still bag a fair amount of points from split 2. So the split 2, maybe even the split 3 drivers could definitely shake up the leaderboard.
So from what I see, there's only Summer Steel who has partaken in the championship before on split 4, but the rest is all new drivers.
Okay.
Which is very nice to see. But Axel Boyer, since the pit stop, he just seemed to have not really found the pace that he had before. He's lost out quite a bit of time to Joachim Thunder. Adrian Lenore from behind is coming closer and closer to him.
Yeah, Joachim Thunder currently lapping in the 46s, very low 46s, to be honest. He's almost 3/10 of a second faster than Dominic Laddell last lap. But Axel Boyer dropping into the 48s. Adrian Lenore just staying inside the 46s, so he's making up time on Boyer pretty quickly right now.
Indeed, I just got information to what happened to Benjamin Jones, and unfortunately, after such a good race, it was an internet connection or a drop connection. Big shame for that race because he was running very well to that point. Could have been, I think, in 5th at this stage if he would have continued to run with Adrian Lenore. He would have also overcut or undercut Lucas Bender in that. So, big shame for him there, but hope to see you back for the next race in Orchard Road. Or next week at the RCE in Spa, because that one will be very interesting.
Yeah, Spa's always a good race. Orchard Road the week after with 24 drivers could be chaos in the first few laps.
Have we ever won Orchard Road in a broadcasted session with 24 cars? I don't think so.
I don't think we have, no. And so yeah, it could either go really, really well or it could go really, really badly, depending who you are and if you manage to avoid the carnage.
I'm confident with that one. So let's wait and see. I mean, there's not much else we can do, but there's a bit more than 10 minutes left to run in this session. And we currently have 4 different cars in the top 4 as well. Just saying.
Oh.
I mean, I think we mentioned that every stream, and it might get boring at some point, but it's just so great to see all 4 different GT3s that are currently in the game to be able to run so competitively and close as well. I mean, we know that from ESL1, we know that from high-level esports, but still to see it usually in private leagues or in private casual community leagues, let's put it like that, you usually see a tendency towards a car in any form, even if it's just by a few hundredths, but in this case, it's just not the case. What you feel comfortable with, you can drive, you can be competitive.
Yeah, there's the balance between the cars is definitely there, which is always good to see. And like you say, it kind of comes down to personal preference on style and which one you think looks coolest.
Yeah,
we all pretend that doesn't matter, but it does.
I don't even pretend it doesn't matter because I've completely based my sim racing existence on that. But of course, in HyperX, for example, these 2 cars are completely competitive as well, but they are built to a completely different rule set. And they also have a BOP and Archimagil, but they have different strength in what they do. the GT3s are even closer, and I think there's never been a series with different cars that are as close as GT3s are to each other.
No, there's some serious 500 IQ level maths goes on behind that, as well as some testing. But the way the BOP limits each individual part of the drivetrain, and the ride height limits are different for each car, and what wing and angle adjustments and air intakes and all sorts. There's so many moving parts to it all.
Yeah,
But they
indeed.
seem to do a really good job of figuring it out somehow.
I mean, might also be a good time to give a shout out to the team behind that, to the BOP analysts and decision makers of this game. I mean, maybe some of you have seen Ben Spunky, who is also a very rare, renowned and how do you call it if you have a lot of accolades? Accomplished? I think
Yeah,
so.
accomplished works.
Accomplished drivers in sim racing himself. I think he did a beautiful job with a lot of the stuff. As also Etienne, who is working on the cars a lot, puts a lot of effort in them, and it really pays out. Especially now that with the 1.9 update, the GT3 cars have been updated even further.
Yeah, I mean, this, as far as a regular race is concerned, this might be one of the longest times people have been driving the brand new tyres from 1.9. So, in that, I suppose, on that front, the old guard of the closed beta have got just as much experience as the new people from the open beta.
Indeed. I mean, of course, there's still the fundamentals that are similar, but the tire behaves in so many different ways now and reacts a lot more to what you do. And at the same time, I think you can say it's more durable.
Yes, yeah, I think it is more durable. It's a bit of a shock when you first start going around corners and your tires are flashing different colors on the hood, but the tire temperature used to show core tire temperature, and now it shows surface tire temperature, and those change a lot more. So you've just got to calm down and think, yeah, okay, it went red in that corner, but it's fine.
I mean, it all comes down to the dedication of the people. And I really like to be able to do what we do now and broadcast these races to show that off.
Yeah, for sure. We couldn't do this without the amount of work they've put in, and we both know how much effort that the team have been putting in the last couple of weeks leading up to the 1.9 release. A few of them have taken a well-deserved break.
Well, we drifted into our talking session, basically recording the next radio check. Axel Boyer went into second position and Joachim Thunders has made a mistake somewhere. And is now also falling back to Adrien Lenoir. But it can't have been the case for long, because in the infield on this very lap I've seen Adrien Lenoir behind Axel Boyer.
Yeah, Joachim Thunder's last lap was a 1:57, which is 11 seconds slower than he has been driving. I did notice that Axel Boyer seems to have picked his lap times back up after his pit stop, and he's been running pretty much the same pace as Adrien Lenoir and Joachim Thunder, so Thunder must have made a bit of a big mistake there, and is now being chased by Adrien Lenoir. Let's hope that Thunder doesn't strike twice.
I mean, with the weather we recently had here, especially in western Germany, Thunder might not only strike 2 times, but maybe 3 and 4. But let's wait and see. It's 1.5 seconds between Thunder and Lenoir with a bit more than 5 minutes left to go in the session. Actually, also further down the grid, fighting for P8, Lasser and Toth. Depending on if Toth can pick up the pace a bit more, he might be able to get closer to Gokpo Lasser.
Maybe, yeah. I think they were a little bit closer, but I think Toth has just had a bit of a bad lap. His last lap round was not the best one, so he might have just drifted off a little bit. But yeah, Lucas Bender has spent a fair amount of this race in a bit of no man's land. But especially, well, maybe because of his earlier contact and long pit stop. You can't be driving around with that livery without dents and scratches in it. He had to go and get it cleaned up nicely for the cameras.
I mean, it's a bit like the what was 2016 or 2018 Le Mans finish, with the two Corvettes having so many laps advantage that they came into the pits for restoration, basically.
Yes. Gotta get cleaned up for the finishing photos.
I mean, the fans didn't like it as much, but
no.
sure made some good pictures.
Adrian Lenoir now within a second of Joachim Thunder, so he's determined to put on a good show for us for the last 4 minutes of the race. But will he go for Bender's light flashing strategy or not? Probably not, because he doesn't even have his lights on.
I mean, Renault is not the typical light flasher.
He's closing the gap up to Thunder now. Half a second back, coming into the big banked corner, so he should be able to make some decent headway with a slipstream here. Maybe not getting to striking distance, but he'll be looking towards the next lap, trying to figure out where he can maybe make a gap in Thunder's lap, see where he's got an advantage.
I mean, he's in a very good position here.
It is, but it's also playing into Axel Boyer's hands if these two start fighting amongst themselves.
On the other hand, if they decide to basically help each other and do a bit of bump drafting, which is not forbidden in this competition, in ESL 1 it is not allowed, but in the community leagues it is not forbidden. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you could definitely close up a lot of a gap with a bit of bump drafting.
But this is still for podium position.
Yeah, it's whether they both have their long-term heads on, thinking about the next lap, or whether they're just going for immediate glory. And Lenoir going around the outside as they come towards the Le Mans chicane. Thunder on the slightly more advantageous inside line. Manages to hold it pretty well there.
Big drift there for Lenoir. He hit the third curb with the rear right wheel. That sent his car airborne on that part of the car as well.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time through there, but he maybe sneak a bit of it back on the long stretch over the banking of turns 2 and 3 of the oval circuit.
I mean, he has 2 more laps to make a move here, because Lala is now at the end of the infield basically soon. Which means after this one there will be another lap. Unless he slows down by those 22 seconds, but I can't really imagine that. Can't recall a situation where he did that. So he just needs to get back into this rhythm now. Close in the gap and wait for the correct moment as well, because if he gets past now, Joachim Thunder is basically in the prime position for the last lap, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, you'd rather not be behind coming through. Sorry, you rather would be behind coming through the last lap in Le Mans, and then go for the slingshot before the start-finish line, so the other driver can't react.
Is Joachim Thunder doing what I think he might be doing?
Do you think he's letting him through?
I think maybe let's rephrase it and say he's giving him a nice invitation. Oh, side by side through the bus stop. They've pretty much given up on Boyer here. But he keeps it in front. I mean, if this were the last lap, this would have been perfect to defend because Lunar won't be able to build up the momentum he needs.
Nope. No, he couldn't. He can't get the run off at all. Well, Lunar going through the outside into T1. Let's see if they can keep it all nice and calm between them. All of this battling is definitely slowing Thunder and Lunar down.
They don't care at this point, do they?
No, it's not like Lucas Bender is going to catch up with them, and they're not going to catch Alex Boyer, so they're just having a bit of fun with the added incentive of whoever wins gets the last podium spot. Oh, has Thunder given it
outside?
Has Thunder tucking in just before they come into the Le Mans chicane? Has he done a strategic mistake? We'll see in a second.
I mean, he's going for the outside of the bus stop. That will definitely set up a good setup for the straight. But Dominic Lala comes across the line to take first. But I think Joachim Thunder just didn't get the exit he needed here.
I don't think so, no. He's going to have to really start picking up speed in the slipstream if he's going to make this work.
Boyer finished in second, Adrian Renault in third, and Joachim Thunder comes home in fourth. But what a race it was for those two in the end of the way.
Yeah, that was definitely an exciting finish. There was a lot of position swapping going on there. I thought Joachim Thunder had gone for a bit of a big brain tactical move there, but he just couldn't quite get the exit out of the Le Mans chicane he needed.
Lucas Bender takes home a solid P5 here. I think going for the safe route here was definitely a good choice. Alizar already finished this race in 7th. Oscar Sobrich will finish in 6th. And the beast of the green hair. I mean, for him, he either did start P5 or P6. I could take a look in the app now, but I'm busy talking. So for him, it was definitely a very solid first race here.
Definitely, he showed a lot of promise with his pace. He just let himself a bit down with his consistency with it, and had a few little mistakes, which you'll expect if he's just started with the open beta.
So I think Boyer and Sobrich will definitely be people you need to watch out for on the track because they are very fast. I mean, Boyer also didn't really do any mistakes, did he? It's just, in general, Dominic Lala's pace was too good and the pit stops cost him quite a bit of time, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he had really good pace. He was only a 10th off Ladle over this fastest lap. And once Joachim Thunder gifted him second place, he grabbed it and ran.
Indeed, but that was it for this race. We are halfway through the season. And next time, in 2 weeks, we will be in Orchard Road, the roads of Singapore, for what will be a super exciting race. Like, I I'm genuinely excited for that, to see that amount of cars on such a narrow type of track. We already see what can happen with 12 cars, now we do it with 24. That will be...
We had a really good race at Orchard Road last time.
Indeed.
I think that was in the community events, wasn't it?
Yes, might have been. Also, of course, in the last RCL at Orchard Road, that was also a lot of action. But, of course, that's not the only racing action taking place, because if you take a look at the schedule, next week, at the same time as today, we will have the RCE in Spa-Francorchamps GT3, GT4. You will also see a fancy quick trailer at the end of the stream. But yeah, lots to choose about. The feature race in Nordschleife and GT4, I can really recommend those cars. Are super nice to drive there. The 7 p.m. multi-class race is probably one of the most popular combinations we've seen so far. Same goes for the 9 p.m. hypercar in GT3. Is very classic combo, I guess, in that way. And
hypercars and the GT3s at Fuji, I think, would be a really interesting combo.
So, yeah, I think this was it for the stream today. Thank you for co-commentating with me. But
thank you for asking.
I nearly forgot. And you also nearly forgot. Tomorrow, we will have a Nordschleife special race, 75 minutes. Has been announced in the Discord, so I will announce it here as well. And that one will be very interesting. So if you haven't yet, check out the Nordschleife in the Founders Pack.
And we've got 2 separate ones as well. One for the European and one in a more US-friendly time zone.
Indeed. So we have 2 different time zones. One being, I think, at 6 p.m. European time and one at 1 a.m. European time, which is basically in the afternoon in the US, if I remember that correctly. So
yeah,
that will be very interesting. The European server will be broadcasted on this channel again. So
unfortunately, I'm busy all weekend, so I'll miss both of them.
So you have to take place with me. I'm sorry for that, but can't change that. Yeah, do you have anything final to say to all of this you've seen today?
Just that I'm really looking forward to Orchard Road. I think it'll be a fun race. I hope they can all keep it clean, and 24 cars on there is going to be madness.
Indeed. And with all that said, see you next time around. Have a great evening and enjoy.
Goodbye.